Is cooking a life skill? I mean, it's obviously a hugely useful skill to have, but is it an essential skill?
It's the most important life skill.
Because?
It enriches your life. If you can make beautiful food at home every day and enjoy good food, then your life is enriched, definitely.
And it brings with it lessons of discipline and creativity, all sorts of other things that are applicable elsewhere.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it encompasses lots of things. Community, sharing food with people.
Sitting round a table?
Yep.
We don't do that very often now, do we?
No, and it saves a lot of money. A lot of people don't know that, but it does save a lot of money.
Because it's cheaper to cook at home than either to buy pre-prepared or to go to a restaurant.
And instead of having to have a sad little ready meal, I mean, they are sad, you've got something really delicious and really beautiful and, you know, it makes you feel good.
Are we losing this skill?
Definitely.
Really?
Young people are afraid to cook, and I think that's very sad. And a lot of older people are afraid to cook. People are afraid, and I know one thing for certain, that you can't just get in a kitchen and cook. You've got to be taught.
When you say young people are afraid to cook, why?
Because it is a skill and you need to learn it. You know, you wouldn't think of going out and driving a car without having lessons. But you're expected, you leave school or you go and live on your own, go to university, whatever, and suddenly there you are, you've got to go and cook.
It's interesting that we've lost this skill at a time when food and restaurants, and they've never been better. I mean, I remember when I first came to London, London was a culinary desert. Now it's probably the best city in the world to dine out of. Manchester, Glasgow, Edinburgh, fantastic places. And TV's full of which you, of course, are the leader in this, but TV's full of programmes, and yet it's never been covered more, and yet we're not good at it anymore.
Well, I think it's good that we're more educated about food, and you have got, you know, as you say, cooking from around the world. You can walk in a supermarket, you can shop around the world. We know a lot, and I think a lot of the programmes that have done have taught people a lot, but the skills of actually cooking are not being taught.
Are our lifestyles too hectic?
I think the lifestyles are too hectic. I think the television, which is where I was able to teach, one generation I was able to teach to cook, fantastic media to be able to communicate in people's, you know, own homes. But then it became, you know, minority programmes. BBC Two was created for minority programmes, and they had a department in the BBC called Further Education, of which I was part.
Well, you were part of Further Education?
Yes, and we were able to teach people because they had their own slots. But then that all went, and suddenly you're into audience ratings and not what it was created for in the first place, minorities. And there off you go, and, you know, it has to be more and more and more and more entertaining.
Is cooking a life skill?
It's not a life skill in the sense of a skill that you need to survive. I mean, if you can buy instant food and you can go out to restaurants. I mean, I entirely agree with, you know, everything Delia's said. The only thing that slightly perplexed me is I really am astonished if the skill isn't improving at the moment, given the almost saturation coverage of cooking programmes on television. And they're on now because they are popular, because they do get the ratings, and of course because they're incredibly cheap to make. So I'm astonished if people aren't...
Well, as cheap as this programme.
Yeah, it's about the same, I would have thought.
Nothing could be that cheap.
Could be that cheap.
Nothing could be that cheap. But I think Delia actually is too modest about this. I agree with Michael, and it started with Delia. I mean, Delia's, you go into any kitchen practically, and you'll find that original how to cook that you did. And, you know, it was boiling an egg. And I never cooked until I was in my 30s, and it was this whole... idea now that you should be involved in cooking. It's something you can enjoy. If you enjoy eating food, you can explore the ability to cook it. I would be extraordinary. There isn't any statistics on this, but I agree with Michael. I would find it extraordinary if it was disappearing. I thought it was flourishing, and you're one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, why it is.
The interest in food has been transformed.
Delia.
The interest in food, yes, I agree with you. But we have an online cookery school, which is why I'm here, and we did a survey with 200 schools. 50% of the pupils didn't know how to soft boil an egg. And 90% of the pupils said they'd really love to learn to cook. Now, you, Alan, were one of the people who started getting cooking back into schools because the Thatcher government, took it out. And you started working with Ed, didn't you?
That's right, yeah.
And you got a long way down the line. Change of government, it's all ditched. But now, your government is getting it back in again.
Is it coming back?
It is coming back next year, and it's in the curriculum. And I'm sure a lot of the money you spent has helped to pay for it. But they can only teach people 15 recipes, apparently, from the age of 11 to 14. I'm not sure.
For a week, wouldn't it?
Get you through a week.
We don't put enough emphasis on life skills, do we?
I don't know. It's a different kind of life skills now, isn't it? I mean, you know, it's about new technology and about how to deal with...
Information technology is today a life skill, and we put a lot of effort into that, I think.
Because you can't exist without it.
You almost can't exist without it. You are really disabled if you're not able to access the internet.
Well, that's why I'm teaching people to cook via it.
Yeah,
That's what you're doing now. You're teaching.
Well, I'm way ahead of my time.
As ever.
And so now you can learn to cook. You know, you can put your tablet on the fridge.
Absolutely, you can stop it when you want to get
You can
something,
stop
then go
it,
back
you can
and look at that
rewind
again.
it, you can sit on the bus and learn how to make an omelette, you know?
One day you'll be able to make an omelette on the bus?
Yeah.
If it's really hot.
So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to teach people to cook.
Well, you always have. We're delighted to have you here tonight.